Good morning, you all.
Morning, ma'am.
And how are you all?
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
How are you all?
Fine, ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
Hope you all are fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we'll start another important component of cardiovascular system, that is hemodynamics. Uh, are you able to see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So we'll start with another important component in the cardiovascular system, that is hemodynamics. Okay. So already we have studied during hemocytometer practical about what do you mean by hemo. Hemo meaning what? Blood, right? So the dynamics meaning mechanics, which are concerned with the flow of blood or the motion. Okay, so the hemodynamics meaning the physical factors or the principles, various principles which are mainly responsible for the flow of the blood within the circulatory system, right? Is the speed is fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
hemodynamics meaning it is a branch which deals with the various factors which are responsible for the circulation of the blood within the cardiovascular system, right? So already we have studied in detail about the cardiovascular system. So the cardiovascular system is made up of the heart and the vascular system. So which is mainly forms this major systemic circulation and the minor pulmonary circulation, right? So the blood flows within this closed vascular system, cardiovascular system. So you know from where to where it flows, how it where to where it flows, and why the circulation is important, because the circulation is takes mainly part in the transport of various nutrients, okay, the waste products, hormones from one part of the organ to the another part of the organ, right? So to maintain optimum environment of each and every cell, there is a requirement of the circulation of the nutrients. So this circulation of the nutrients, waste products or the hormones, that will be done by this flow, this blood. Okay, so the blood has to flow within the circulatory system. So this blood flows within the circulation with the help of some physical factors or the principles. So those are known as what? Hemodynamics. Okay, so hemodynamics. So these physical factors or the principles are explained by Ohms, Laplace, Bernoulli, Poiseuille, etc. Okay, so we are going to study in detail about these factors with the help of these laws and principles, right? I think you all are following. Just you listen,
Yes, ma'am.
just you listen nicely. Don't put on and don't do another work. So just you listen these concepts. So these are very important concepts to understand and to apply in future also. So before understanding the physical factors of the hemodynamics in detail, we just will revive the briefly about the functional classification or physiological classification of vascular system, right? So already we have studied about the anatomical classification of the circulatory system. So that is about means like arterial system, venous system, like that. So like that, we need to study the functional classification of the vascular system also. So during our introductory classes, during homeostasis, we have studied the basic structure of we have 100, we are made up of 100 trillion cells in our body. So the basic structure of each and every cell remains same, but depending upon their functions, they are modified and they have made tissues, organ systems, like that, right? So like that only we have some modifications in the vascular system also, some additions, some deletions. These will make the different, that is functional classification or physiological classification of the vascular system. Okay, so the basic structure of the all vessels remain same. You know that the wall of the vessel is made up of adventitia, the media and the intima, right? So the basic structure remains same, but there are some additions or deletions, some modifications by the nature depending upon the function of the different components of the vascular system. So we have different vessels, like so this is the left ventricle. From the left ventricle we have a originate from the left ventricle the aorta is originating, right? So the aorta, from the aorta we have a larger arteries, then arterioles, then meta-arterioles, then the capillaries, then venules, okay, veins, vena cava, then to the right ventricle. So this is whole vascular system, right? This is the whole vascular system, that is the major vascular system, that is the systemic circulation, right? So here the aorta, okay, this aorta, so this is a bigger vessels, these are the bigger vessels. So these, the diameter of the aorta is very large, and the wall of the aorta or the bigger arteries are made up of elastic tissues. Okay, so the elastic tissue is rich in the wall of the aorta, so that's why they have got the capacity to stretch during systole and recoil during diastole. So already you are studying the blood pressure. I think you have finished about the blood pressure also. So what do you mean by blood pressure? What is mean atrial pressure? What is systolic blood pressure? What is diastolic blood pressure? I think you have studied, right? So this recoiling property and stretching property of the aorta, so this takes part in the maintenance of the mean atrial pressure, right? So what do you mean by mean atrial pressure? Can anybody tell me? Megha, Meghna. So mean atrial pressure, okay. So the mean atrial pressure is the pressure which is mainly responsible for the perfusion of the tissues. Okay, so that is maintained average. That is the average pressure. So this because of the property, this is maintained because of the property of the aorta. So what is the property of the aorta? They are having recoiling and stretching. So why this property is present? Because of the structural modification, that is the addition of the extra elastic tissues in the wall. That's why they have got the property of the stretching and recoiling. So that's why these vessels are called as what? Wind Kessel vessels. Okay. So these vessels are called as what? Wind Kessel vessels. What are the Wind Kessel vessels? So these are the bigger arteries or the aorta. So which are having more elastic tissues in the wall and having larger diameter, and they have got the property of stretching during systole and recoiling property during diastole. So because of this property they are called as what? Wind Kessel vessels. Okay, so now coming to the arteries. So these arteries and arterioles, they have their addition, the nature has added more smooth muscle tissue in the wall. Okay, so more tissue, more smooth muscle tissue in the wall of the arteries and arterioles. Why? Because this is the site where there is a more resistance to the blood flow occurs. So because of the presence of these smooth muscles, so the resistance is high at this place because of the arterioles, and the precapillary sphincter also made up of the smooth muscles, and the arterioles are also made up of the arteries made up of the smooth muscle walls. So because of this property, they are possessing, they are having more resistance to the blood flow within the vessels. So that's why they are called as what? Resistance vessels. Okay, the resistance vessels. So what they will do? They will slow down the blood flow. They will make the velocity. So here, when the blood comes here, so the velocity of the blood flow becomes less because of the resistance. Okay, so how they are interrelated, we are going to study later. So that's why these arteries and arterioles are called as what? Resistance vessels. So why they are resistance vessels? Because they possess the resistance to blood flow, because of the presence of the smooth muscles in the walls, right? So next, coming to the capillaries. So you have the artery, then arteriole, then we have a meta-arteriole, then we have a capillaries. Okay, this is the part where we have a true capillaries. True capillaries. So this before the true capillary and after the true capillary, we have arterial end of capillary and venous end of capillary. So these parts are called as what? Through fair vessels. These parts are called as what? Through fair vessels, which connect the capillaries. So what are the capillaries? These are the anastomosis between. So these are the anastomosis between the through fair vessels. These are the anastomotic part of the between the through fair vessels. What are these through fair vessels? These are the connecting part between the artery and the arterial end. That is the meta-arteriole and the capillary. That is the arterial end of capillary and the venous end of the capillary. So these are called as what? Through fair vessels. In between these through fair vessels, we have the true capillary. True capillary. So these true capillaries are thin walled, and they are having only one endothelial cell wall, right? Only one endothelial cell wall. So because of this, and also when we are having the branches from the aorta, artery, arteriole, meta-arteriole, like that, so there will be more and more branching will occur. So because of that, the capillaries cross section will be very high. The area, cross-sectional area of the capillary will be very high. Because of that, there will be velocity of the blood flow is very sluggish at this part. That's why there is a stasis of blood for some time in this capillary. So because of this property, there will be exchange of nutrients, gases, the essential components and waste products, etc. occur at this part of the vascular system. So that's why capillaries are called as what? Exchange vessels. Okay, so that's why these capillaries are called as exchange vessels. Okay, so now coming to the venous part of the vascular system. Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Arihanta, what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Is the slides are visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, right. Okay. So this veins are the major part of the vascular system where these will collect the blood. They are the part of the vascular system where the blood will be accumulated. So why the blood will be accumulated in the venous compartment? Because of the low pressure. The pressure is very less in the venous part, and because of the thin wall, the low pressure and and the low resistance. So because of this property of the veins, about 60% of the whole blood will be accumulated in this part, that is in the veins. So that's why these veins are called as what? Capacitance vessels. Okay, so these veins are called as what? Capacitance vessels. So this is how physiologically, functionally, we will classify the vascular system. Okay, vascular system. So those are Wind Kessel vessels, resistance vessels, exchange vessels, and capacitance vessels. What are, so you are going to in the during Viva was also the examiners can ask, and during for 3 marks also these questions can come. So define Wind Kessel vessels, resistance vessels, give examples, okay, like that. So just you understand the concept why they are called as Wind Kessel vessels, resistance vessels, exchange vessels, and capacitance vessels. Okay, I hope you understood this component. Okay, so then so this is the table showing the diameter, thickness, cross-sectional area, and blood volume, percentage of the blood volume present in each component of the vascular system. So you can see here the 54% of the whole blood will be present in the venous part, venous component. So that's why this is called as what? These vessels, the veins are called as what? The capacitance vessels. Okay, capacitance vessels. And you can see here the aorta is having 2.5 centimeter diameter. The lumen diameter of aorta is about 2.5 centimeter, and the thickness you can see here 2 millimeter. So because of this property, where because of the presence of the more elastic tissue in the wall, so the aorta is called as what? Wind Kessel vessels, because of the recoiling and stretching property. Okay. So then we have an arteriole and the arteries, which are the major site of resistance because of the presence of the smooth muscles. That's why they are called as what? Resistance vessels. And you can see here the cross-sectional area of the capillary and the venule. Capillaries mainly. So here the exchange of, because the blood flow is less, so because of this the blood flow will be to the tissues takes place here. There is exchange of nutrients and the whatever the essential components are required, the exchange will take place here. That's why they are called as what? Exchange vessels. I think you cleared the concept of this functional classification or the physiological classification. Okay, so with this brief introduction of the different physiological classification of the vessels, now we'll study the different factors or the different principles which are involved in the hemodynamics. Okay, so already we have defined hemodynamics. What is hemodynamics? It is a branch, okay, which deals with this. This is the branch which deals with the various factors or the interaction of various physical principles that govern the circulation of blood. Okay, that governs the circulation of blood, interaction of various physical factors which are responsible for the flow of the blood within the vascular system. Okay, within the vascular system. So what are those physical factors? So we have blood flow, pressure gradient, okay, energy, vessel diameter, blood velocity, forces, blood viscosity, peripheral resistance. So these are the different factors which are mainly responsible for the flow of the blood, okay, which are mainly responsible for the hemodynamics. Okay, hemodynamics. So how they are related? By how they are related, so we are going to study with the different principles and laws how the each and every factors are related. Okay, so now first we'll study the relationship between velocity and the flow. Okay, velocity and the flow. What do you mean by velocity? Can anybody define? What do you mean by velocity? Priyanshi? Okay, so what do you mean by velocity?
Velocity
Little bit louder so that I
is the rate of
can hear.
displacement of fluid.
Right, very good, very good. So velocity is defined as the rate of displacement of fluid with respect to time. Okay, so the rate of displacement of fluid with respect to time. So the velocity is rate of displacement of fluid with respect to time. So this velocity is expressed in terms of distance per unit time. Okay, distance per unit time. For example, centimeters per second. Okay, centimeters per second. So this velocity is expressed in terms of distance per unit time. So this the rate of displacement of the fluid per unit time is called as what? Velocity. Okay, velocity. What do you mean by blood flow? Blood flow is the volume displacement per unit time. So volume displacement per unit time. How much the volume of the blood is moving per unit time. That is the blood flow. So that will be expressed in terms of centimeters cube per second. Okay, centimeters cube per second. So how this velocity is related to the flow and cross-sectional area, that will be explained with the formula, that is V is equal to Q by A, where V is velocity, Q is flow, and A is cross-sectional area. Okay, and A is cross-sectional area. So whenever there is increase in the blood flow, the velocity increases. Whenever there is increase in the cross-sectional area, velocity decreases. So the velocity is directly proportional to the blood flow and it is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. Okay, are you following? This is very important. That's why I have discussed about the functional classification of the vascular system before studying these relationships, because this cross-sectional area is inversely proportional to the velocity and the blood flow is directly proportional to the velocity. So whenever there is increase in the blood flow, velocity increases. Decrease in the blood flow, velocity decreases. Whenever there is increase in the cross-sectional area like capillaries, so velocity decreases. Whenever there is decrease in the cross-sectional area like aorta or the veins, the velocity increases. Okay. So velocity is directly proportional to the blood flow, whereas velocity is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. Okay, cross-sectional area. So we will just study in little more clear with the help of this graph. So you can see from the left ventricle we have the different vascular compartment till the right ventricle, and here in this graph we have the line and the bars, okay, and the bar diagrams. So these bar diagrams depicts the velocity of the blood flow, whereas this line depicts the cross-sectional area. This line depicts the cross-sectional area. Whatever I am moving the arrow, is it visible to you? With the help of the arrow mark,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
am explaining. So
Yes,
is it
ma'am.
okay? Okay. So you can see the cross-sectional area from the aorta. So it is gradually increases when it comes to the arterioles, and it reaches peak about 4,500. So in the capillaries, then slowly the cross-sectional area decreases. You can see slowly the cross-sectional area decreases when it comes to the veins. Like that, the velocity also you can see, the velocity of the blood flow. So along with the cross-sectional area, so it gradually decreases, so very less in the capillaries. If the velocity is more, then the blood will not stay there. So if the blood will not stay there, then the blood perfusion will not occur. That's why the nature has have made some modifications here in the capillaries. Because of the more cross-sectional area, the velocity is less. Then because of that, the blood flow, the tissue perfusion occurs. So, okay, you can see the velocity is very less in the capillaries. Again, gradually the velocity increases with the decrease in the cross-sectional area. Okay, with the decrease in the cross-sectional area. And also you can see the relationship of the pressure with the resistance. So here these two lines depicts the pressure. So this is the systolic pressure and this is the diastolic pressure. And these bar diagrams depict the resistance. You can see the resistance is very high here in the arterioles. Why? Because arterioles and the precapillary sphincter, they are made up of what? Smooth muscles. Because of their property of the resistance, that's why the blood flow to the resistance is very high. Here in this part, the resistance is very less, and the pressure you can see. The pressure is high, resistance is less. So when the resistance, when the blood flows within the arterioles, because of the more resistance, the pressure falls. Okay. So because of decreasing the pressure, so again, okay, the flow of the blood becomes, or the velocity becomes less. Okay, so this how these resistance, pressure, they are related, they are linked. We are going to study in detail in the future slides. Okay, so just you understand. So in the wherever there is, so in the aorta and the bigger vessels of the bigger arteries, there is a high systolic and diastolic pressure, and we have a less resistance. So when the blood flows within the arterioles and the precapillary sphincter, because of the more resistance, because of the smooth muscle component, then there is sudden decrease in the pressure component. Okay, so that like this is the pressure response. Okay, and this is the resistance response, and this is the cross sectional area, and this is the velocity, how they are interrelated. So then in this diagram you can see the vessel. This is a vessel having different diameters, cross sectional area, different cross sectional area. So you have we have a three components in the vascular system. So we have a component, B component, and the C component. Okay, so the A component is having area of about 2 square centimeter, B component is having 10 square centimeter, and C component is having 1 square centimeter. And the blood flow is about 10 ml per second. So what may be the velocity in the A component? Can anybody tell? Neeraj, what may be the velocity in the A? Can anybody tell? Prasanna? Yes. Prasanna, can you tell me what is the velocity at A with the help of this cross-sectional area and the blood flow?
5.
Huh?
5.
Right, 5 what kg?
5 centimeter
5 centimeter.
per
What is
second.
the unit? What is the unit?
5 centimeter per second.
Per second. Very good. 5 centimeters per second at A is this. So what is the velocity? Velocity is equal to blood flow divided by cross sectional area. So at A we have 10 by 2, that is 5 centimeters per second. So at B component we have 10 by 10. So because of the more cross sectional area, velocity is very less, that is 1 centimeter per second. And here because of the less cross sectional area, so we have 10 centimeter per second is the velocity. So I hope you understood how to calculate the velocity with the help of the blood flow and the cross sectional area. Okay, so this is how the velocity and the blood flow and the cross-sectional area are interrelated. So the velocity is directly proportional to the blood flow, whereas it is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. So now we'll study the relationship between velocity and the pressure. Okay, velocity and the pressure with the help of the Bernoulli's principle. With the help of Bernoulli's principle. What Bernoulli's principle states? Blood flowing at higher velocities. Blood flowing at higher velocities has a higher ratio of kinetic energy to potential energy. So what Bernoulli's principle states? Bernoulli's principle states that blood flowing at higher velocities has a higher ratio of kinetic energy to potential energy. In other terms, total energy is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay. So to understand this principle in detail, just we have to understand some basic terminologies like the basic information. So whenever the blood is flowing within hydraulic system or within closed vascular system, so it has got always two components. What are those two pressure components? One is dynamic pressure component and another one is the static pressure component. Okay. So when the blood flows within the hydraulic system or within the closed vascular system, it has got the two pressure components. The one is the dynamic pressure component and another one is the static pressure component. Okay. So this dynamic pressure component, so this is due to what? Kinetic energy. So this is due to what? Kinetic energy. What is this kinetic energy? This is the kinetic energy is produced due to the mass and the velocity. Okay, mass and the velocity. So this again in turn depends on the pressure, right? So whenever the left ventricle pumps the blood, that will create the pressure. So depending upon that pressure, we have the velocity and the mass of the blood. So that will be okay. So that forms the dynamic pressure components. So that dynamic pressure component is what? Kinetic energy. That forms the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is depends on what? Velocity of the blood flow. Okay. So the velocity of the blood flow, again it depends on the cross sectional area, blood flow, like that. Okay. So this dynamic pressure component or the kinetic energy is exerted equally in all directions. Okay, equally in all direction. And we have another component, that is the static pressure component. So we have studied the dynamic component, this dynamic pressure component, that is the kinetic energy. Okay, which depicts the forward flow of the blood. So whereas the static pressure component or the lateral pressure component, so it is the pressure exerted by the flowing blood on the lateral wall of the vessels. Okay, on the lateral wall of the vessels. So this forms the potential energy. So this forms the potential energy. Okay, so we have the kinetic energy and we have the potential energy. We have the dynamic component and we have the static component. Okay, so always the kinetic energy plus potential energy will form the total energy. Okay, will form the total energy. What is the total energy? Total energy is the combination of both kinetic energy and potential energy. So that is dynamic component and the static component. Okay, and the static component. So this total energy always remains constant. This you remember, this total energy always remains constant. Sometimes kinetic energy may increase, potential energy may increase, kinetic energy may decrease, potential energy may decrease, but whatever the changes will occur in the kinetic energy or the potential energy, but the total energy remains same. So this is what Bernoulli's principle. This is what Bernoulli's principle. So when there is a increase in the kinetic energy, then there is decrease in the potential energy. Whenever there is increase in the potential energy, that is the lateral pressure, then there is decrease in the kinetic energy, that is the dynamic component. So this is how the total energy is always maintained constant. So this is an example of conservation of energy. Always body tries to conserve energy. So that is the nature rule. The conservation of energy is the nature rule. We can find it everywhere in the nature, not only in human beings, also in the overall ecosystem. Okay. So it always tries to maintain energy. So with the help of this diagram, little bit clear we can understand the what Bernoulli's principle states. Okay. So in this diagram we have the vascular system. The vascular system with the two different diameters. One is having narrow diameter and another one is having wider diameter. Okay, wider diameter. So this arrow depicts the blood flow. This arrow depicts the blood flow, and we are inserting four probes. Two at the wider component of the vessel and two at the narrower vessel. Okay, two at the narrower vessel. So we have four probes. So the 1 and 3 probes, they are inserted in the vessel without any without any bending. So these 1 and 3, they will record the lateral pressure component or the potential energy. Okay, whatever the changes occurring in the potential energy or the lateral pressure component or the static pressure component, that will be picked up by these two probes, that is 1 and 3, which are inserted in the wider component, wider vessel and the narrower vessel. Okay, and the narrower vessel. Whereas the 2 and 4 probes, they are inserted in such a way that they can measure the total pressure. They can measure the total pressure. So the blood flow, the lateral pressure, the kinetic energy. So they can measure the kinetic energy also. So that is the kinetic energy, that is the dynamic component. So kinetic energy also, and they can measure the lateral pressure also. So these two probes, 2 and 4 probes, they are measuring the lateral pressure. Sorry, total pressures. Okay, total pressure. And the 1 and 3 are measuring the lateral pressure. You can clearly see that in the wider component, in the wider diameter vessel, the vessel which is having wider diameter, so here the velocity is less. Because of the cross sectional area, the velocity will become less. Because velocity is less, the velocity is directly proportional to the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to the velocity. So because of the direct relationship, so the kinetic energy becomes less. So because the kinetic energy becomes less, so the lateral pressure will be high. Okay, so the lateral pressure will be high. You can see here the lateral pressure will be high at the wider diameter vessel. So this is very important concept. Just to listen, just to concentrate on this concept. So to understand the applied physiology, this is very important to know. Okay. So when we'll come to the narrower diameter vessel, you can see when the vessel becomes narrow, the cross sectional area becomes less. Because of the cross sectional area becomes less, it is inversely proportional to the velocity. So velocity will become more, cross sectional area is less, velocity is more. Velocity is more, the kinetic energy will be more. Okay, kinetic energy will be more. So because kinetic energy will be more, to maintain the total pressure equal, the lateral pressure will become less. Okay, so here you can see the level of the lateral pressure at the narrower end is here, and the level of the lateral pressure at the wider end is here. You can see, but the total pressure at both the ends, they are normal. The total pressure at both the ends, they are equal. There is no any change in the total pressure at both the diameter of the vessels, but there is only change in the lateral pressure and the the kinetic energy and the potential energy. Okay, so this is very important. So here is this vessel is having three diameters A, B, and C. You can see the velocity is different in all the parts of the vessel. That is A, B, and C. A is having 100 centimeters per second. B is having 200 centimeters per second, and C is having 100 centimeters per second. Here the cross sectional area is more. Okay, the cross sectional area is more, so the velocity is less, that is kinetic energy is less. Because of that, lateral pressure is more, or the potential energy is more. So when the cross sectional area of the vessel becomes less, decreased, then the kinetic energy will become more. So the lateral pressure or the potential energy becomes less, or it will be decreased. Okay, so you can see. Then coming to the C component, here again the lateral pressure is more because of the less kinetic energy. Less kinetic energy because decreased velocity. Decreased velocity is because the increased cross sectional area. I hope you understood this concept, everybody. Okay. So what the Bernoulli's principle states? Bernoulli's principle states blood flowing at higher velocity. The blood flow which is having higher velocity has a higher kinetic energy. Okay, higher kinetic energy compared to the potential energy, that is the lateral pressure. Always the total pressure will be constant. Always the total pressure will be constant. Okay, so within the hydraulic system or within the closed vascular system, always the blood flow has two components, that is the dynamic pressure component and the static pressure component. Okay, so this static pressure component is also called as what? Lateral pressure component. So this lateral pressure component is due to what? Due to the pressure exerted by the flowing column on the lateral wall of the vessels, whereas the kinetic energy, it is the dynamic component. It is due to velocity of the blood flow. It is due to velocity of the blood flow. Always kinetic energy plus potential energy will be equal to total energy. Okay, so this lateral pressure, here, this has got a clinical importance. So this has got a clinical significance. What is the clinical significance of this lateral pressure? So this will this will mainly takes part in the perfusion of the tissues. Whenever there is lateral pressure is high, so this will take part in the exchange of the perfusion, tissue perfusion. Okay, so whenever there is kinetic energy more, lateral pressure less. So because of that, the blood only flows. It will not take part in the perfusion at all. So that's why whenever there is constriction, you can see here, if this lateral pressure mainly it involves in the perfusion of the tissues. Okay, whenever there is a more lateral pressure, then there will be the blood will enter into the tissues. So then the perfusion takes place. Whenever there is constriction, the cross-sectional area or the vessel constricts, then the cross-sectional area becomes less. Because of that, kinetic energy will be more and the lateral pressure will be less. Because of this decreased lateral pressure, then there is decreased tissue perfusion. That leads to tissue ischemia and all. Okay, so the complications will occur. This we can see in the atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. What do you mean by arteriosclerosis? Arteriosclerosis is different from atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is
Loss
what?
of
It is a hello.
loss of elasticity of the vessel.
Very good, very good. Atherosclerosis is due to formation of the plaque due to the more lipid profile or the decreased increased viscosity, like that. Okay, so whereas arteriosclerosis is the stiffness of the arteries with the aging process. With the aging, during the aging process, the stiffness of the arteries will occur. That is called as arteriosclerosis. Okay, whereas atherosclerosis is what? It is formation of the atheromas in the vessels. So in these conditions, what happens? There is the constriction, there is the vessel diameter becomes less. Because of that, there is more kinetic energy, less lateral pressure. Because of that, there is decreased tissue perfusion that leads to ischemia of the tissues. Okay, so another important condition, that is acute myocardial infarction in aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis may be due to innumerable conditions. We have so many different conditions for the aortic stenosis. You know that the aortic valve is present between the left ventricle and the aorta. Left ventricle and the aorta. So this is the semilunar valve. Aortic valve is a semilunar valve. Wherever the aortic valve is stenosed, okay, so like this. So wherever the aortic valve is stenosed, so then what happens? So you know that whenever the blood, the left ventricle contracts, whenever the left ventricle contracts, the blood will enter into the aorta. Okay, blood will enter into the aorta. So this is the pressure which is responsible for the flow of the blood. Okay, and the right and left coronary arteries which are arising from the aorta. So they are perpendicularly. So the right and left coronary arteries which are arising perpendicular to the aorta, they are supplying to the whole heart. They are supplying to the whole heart. So whenever there is stenosis in the aortic wall, okay, whenever there is stenosis in the aortic wall, because of the stenosis, the kinetic energy will be more because of the less diameter of the vessel. So the blood wants to go very forcefully. Because of that, we have a very high dynamic component. So that is kinetic energy will be very high. Because of this high kinetic energy, the lateral pressure in the aorta will be very less. Because of this decreased lateral pressure in the aortic wall, so there is less perfusion to the coronary arteries. Okay, so there is less entry of the blood into the coronary arteries. So those will lead to acute myocardial infarction. What do you mean by myocardial infarction? Reduced blood supply to the heart. Okay, so the heart will be supplied with the help of the coronary arteries. We have a left and right coronary. You are going to study in detail during the coronary circulation. So just for a few points about we have a right and left coronary arteries which are arising from the aorta, which are perpendicularly arising from the aorta. Okay, so this perfusion mainly depends on the lateral pressure. Okay, lateral pressure. So if there is a stenosis of the aortic wall, then there is high kinetic energy, so less potential energy or the lateral pressure. There is decreased perfusion of the coronary arteries that will lead to acute myocardial infarction, the ischemia of the cells of the heart. Okay, I hope you understood. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So today we have studied the introduction of hemodynamics. What do you mean by hemodynamics? Hemo means blood, dynamics meaning the mechanics of the motion. So hemodynamics is a branch of the different factors or the different principles which are going to take part in the motion of the blood within the hydraulic system or within the closed vascular system. So right. So we have different factors involved. So they are where those different factors are explained with the help of the different laws, different principles, like Ohm's law, Bernoulli's principle. Okay, we have Poiseuille law, Laplace law, etc. So today we have studied the Bernoulli's principle, and Bernoulli's principle in the Bernoulli has shown the relationship between the velocity and the pressure. Okay, velocity and the pressure. The total energy is always equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, plus potential energy. The velocity of the blood flow, it leads to increase in the kinetic energy, decrease in the potential energy or the lateral pressure. So this lateral pressure is mainly concerned with the perfusion of the tissues. Okay, perfusion of the tissues. So to improve the perfusion of the tissues, we need to have more lateral pressure. So whenever there is stenosis or the constriction or the accumulation of any atheromas, that leads to decreased blood supply to the tissues. Okay, and also we have already studied the velocity is directly proportional to the blood flow, and it is inversely proportional to the cross sectional area of the vessel. And how the vessels are classified physiologically and functionally depending upon their function, like capacitance vessels, wind Kessel vessels, resistance vessels, then we have exchange vessels and through fare vessels. Okay, so this is a home assignment for you. You are going to read about the different types of the blood flow. Those are laminar flow and the turbulent flow. And so in this part only we have a Reynolds number also. So you are going to read and understand the concept. You are going to write and you are going to post in your respective mentor groups. Okay. So this is a assignment for you: laminar flow, turbulent flow and Reynolds number. In the next class we are going to study the relationship between the pressure, resistance, blood flow with the help of the Ohm's law, Poiseuille law, Laplace law, and we are going to also study the plasma skimming, etc. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Aditi, kindly you can enable your videos so that I can see. Okay. You have any questions? I have prepared this topic with the help of GK Paul, Guyton, Genong and internet. So thank you for patient hearing. I think you all are mature enough to understand the importance of your profession and importance of the time, right? So you are going to become little serious, and at the same time you have to enjoy the reading process. You have to read well because you have a less time. You have joined late and already you are in the now in the lockdown period, so you have to read by yes, like, so whatever we are teaching in this online classes, we are not going to repeat, okay, offline. So you have to understand the concepts properly. This is the basic knowledge. Okay, above this you are going to build your clinical knowledge. Okay, so be safe, to take care of your parents. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Control Shift B. Control Shift B.
Control
Shift.
to be. But we have to save, no? Because if it will be same.